Welcome to tonight's live stream. I'm going to get started in a minute. I just want to let everybody know that the stream is going on social media. So just give me a minute to do some promotion. Then I will be getting the show started. Okay, can everybody hear me? Just put up a 1 if you can hear me. What's up, T-Mac? Glad to see you here. Okay, can everybody hear me? Just put up a 1 if you can hear me. What's up, T-Mac? All right, great. Okay, great. I am gonna get started right now. Before I get started, I'm gonna go into some perfunctory. Yeah, I'm gonna go into some perfunctory regarding books that will definitely help you stop simping, climb in finance. This is a book that I wish this guy had gone out here. See. Forward. I mean, people that this book is break free of the self paradigm. And another book, this is Captain Saban, which really is related to tonight's. I have to take a look at this microphone and see what's going on here. Glad to see you here. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's see what's going on with this microphone. Glad to see you here. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's see what's going on with this microphone. Glad to see you here. All right, can anybody hear me now? Okay, I think that the microphone issues. All right, so I'm gonna put up a link to Misadventures of Captain Saban, because this is a book that is core to what I'm going to be discussing tonight. And what I'm going to be discussing tonight in depth is I'm going to be deconstructing this simp who spent $30,000 on a predatory prison female. Now, one of my viewers, they sent me a link to a story on World Star Hip Hop, and this story was all about this black guy who went out here and he spent over $30,000 to go out here and impress this white female who was an inmate. And as he was out here spending this $30,000, he was not really seeing how he was coming across as related to the whole issue of his so-called relationship. Because it's like I'm talking about in my new book, Stop Simping in Cyberspace. These guys, they're thinking that they're in a relationship with these females, but there is no real connection between them and this female, because the big problem isn't the woman in many of the cases of these types of cyber simps. No, the problem is the male, and the problem is that the male has not really been taught the proper life skills on how to navigate a relationship with a woman, because he has not really been taught the male life skills on how to navigate relationships or even how to initiate relationships. What happens with these kind of guys is they wind up getting taken advantage of. And the main big problem that leads to them getting taken advantage of is the fact that many of these guys, they never really got any sort of life training from a father or other male figures who were older in their lives. What's going on, Rob IS? Glad to see you here. We're going in depth on this simp who spent 30 grand on this white female that practically just embarrassed himself. And he started out again with a really poor foundation as related to life skills, because he went out here and he really didn't understand how relationships work. He didn't understand that in any sort of relationship, there has to be some sort of personal connection. And when a woman is connecting with you, it means she is emotional and has feelings for you. So if a woman has feelings for you, you don't have to come out here and lead with your wallet. But a lot of guys who come from single mother households, they usually learn early on that they have to go out here and lead with their wallet, because there's no man out there with actual life experience to sit down with them and really talk to them about making contact and connections with women. So they're going out here thinking that they have to lead with their wallet, and that mindset right there lays the foundation for a lot of their dysfunction, because it is the mind of the simp that leads to them making many of these bad decisions. And it's that mindset and framework of thinking that leads them to get into the situations that they wind up in, like this guy did, because this guy's whole frame of thinking about dating and relationships was dysfunctional from minute one. And because he had a dysfunctional mindset about relationships, this is why he was just thinking about going out here and trying to pursue these women at the bottom of the world. Now, this guy, again, his problems, again, started with his frame of thinking about himself. And we saw this with his low self-esteem. Now, this guy clearly had a bad case of low self-esteem, because instead of him looking to go out here and take those lumps and bumps as related to the dating world, he went out here looking to go out here and try to get the easiest woman he possibly could. Now, a lot of these simps, they go to the bottom of the world because a lot of them don't have the self-confidence or the self-esteem to go out here and take all of the rejection that comes with approaching women and letting women know that you're interested. So instead of these guys going out here and building the discipline and resolve as they shoot their shot, what they do is try to find ways to get to women who they think will say yes to them to avoid hearing no. So what these guys do is they create a covert contract early on with these women at the bottom, hoping to get to an easy yes, and they're looking to avoid hearing the word no. But hearing the word no from women is a very good thing, because what that does is it toughens up your resolve and it thickens up your skin, because once you build up that thick skin and take those rejections, this really starts to show other women outside of the female that you are interested in early on that you have character. And women like to see a man have character, because a man with character has that strength internally that shows her that he can handle any sort of situation. So if a guy goes out here and he gets rejected and he isn't fazed by that rejection, that woman is looking at him and thinking, this guy is really strong, and she's getting turned on because she sees that strength of internal character, and that strength of internal character is something that she would find to be attractive. Unfortunately, many of your simps, like this guy, they don't want to go out here and build that internal character, and they don't want to deal with the learning curve as related to socializing with women, because there is a major learning curve that is out here if you don't really have a father to help you with it. And if you don't have somebody like a father or an older brother or an older man to sit down with you, you're going to wind up making a lot of mistakes, and you're going to wind up not really learning where you went wrong. So it's very important to, again, have male figures in your life. But a lot of simps like this, they don't have those male figures. So they don't really understand how things work. They're really nervous. They're really awkward. And what happens is they go out here looking to go get easy, not understanding that when you go out here looking for easy, you wind up making life just that much harder for yourself. And this guy, he went out here looking to go out here and go the easy route, looking for the easy yes. And when he went looking for the easy yes, he wound up walking into a snake pit filled with female predators, because that's what's on these platforms like online dating. And that's where this guy went to go look for this female who was a white female prison inmate. Now, this black guy, he goes to this site looking for this prison Becky, and he goes out here and he gets involved with this prison Becky online. And again, the only guys who are on online dating are extremely desperate simps who have extremely low self-esteem. Because again, the problem is not the woman. The problem is, why is this man in this place looking for women? Because any guy out here who has a good job and is well put together, he's gonna go out here and approach those women out there who are on his level. He's not going to go out here seeking out bottom feeders. No, he's going to go out here and shoot his shot at quality women, because he has the confidence in himself to go out here and get and seek out opportunities with relation to have relationships with quality women on his level. He's not going to go out here going to places like these online dating sites, because he understands that going to an online dating site is lowering his value as a man. If he has value in himself and has high self-worth, he is not going to go to a place where there are people who are bottom feeders looking for an easy yes, because he understands that that easy yes can lead to a lot of problems later on. But your simps, because they want to hear the easy yes, they will go out here and go to a place like an online dating site for female inmates, and then think that, oh, these women will want to have relationships with me, and they will want to actually go out here and want to commit to me. So when I looked at that story, I said, you know, the problem at the low level is him. And he's sitting there thinking, oh, I'm going to get an easy yes. And he's also thinking that he's going to get some sort of leverage as related to the relationship. Because this is the other part of the simp related to his covert contract. He's thinking that if I go out here and get with this inmate, oh, I will be able to gain leverage over this woman, and I'll be able to dictate the terms of the relationship. Unfortunately, many of these simps really don't understand that you're not going to dictate anything if you're scraping the bottom of the barrel and you're approaching from the position of weakness. Because when you have a guy out here and he's on an online dating site, he's already showing many of the females there that he's extremely desperate, because is going on here looking for women. And if you're a guy who's well put together, has a good job, and is able to take care of yourself, you're not going to want to be on some online dating site looking at these bottom feeders who are inmates or are in a bad state of life. No, you're going to be looking for somebody who is a quality woman who you want to build with. And you cannot build with a female who is already in prison. But this guy thought, oh, I'll go in here and I'll create this covert contract. And what he wanted to do, he wanted to be the knight in shining armor who rescued the damsel in distress. And that's basically what a Captain Save-Em is. He's the guy who wants to put on the Mickey Mouse galoshes and he wants to put on the Ben Cooper cape and he wants to swoop in and come in and save this female. And all thanks to his efforts, he's going to make this female a better woman. And that's the fantasy that this guy had in his mind. He had built up this idea and this world around this woman that he was going to come in here, sweep this woman off her feet. And when she saw how heroic he was going to go out here and he was going to change her life and she was going to be so appreciative of it. But female predators are not really appreciative of anything as related to these kind of guys. No, when it comes down to your female predators, when they see a guy like this, they don't see him as a man. No, they see him as a tool. And when you're dealing with females who are a part of the correctional system, they have a real disdain for your males. A lot of these women, they have been abused. A lot of these women have been molested. A lot of these women, they have a real hardness about them. And because they don't value men in their lives, what they do is they just see a man as a tool and they see him as a way to get from point A to point B. And that's what happened to this 33-year-old man. She just saw this guy as a way to get from point A to point B. Unfortunately, he couldn't see this because he did not have that core foundation in manhood like a father would sit down and teach his son, and like older brothers and older men would sit down and teach him. And because he came from a single parent household, he only knew about women from a woman's perspective, and he didn't really understand how things worked for a man, because a man has to really think critically when he's out here and he's dealing with females. And he really has to, again, listen to what they're saying, and he has to watch what they're doing. And in addition to listening to what they're saying and watching what they're doing, he also has to look out and feel the energy around this woman, and he has to follow his instincts, because a lot of times your instincts will tell you something is wrong with one of these females, and you have to really trust those instincts because they're telling you right. Now, a lot of these simps, they don't know how to read women, and that's one of the reasons why they wind up in trouble, because your simp, all he's thinking about is how good this woman looks, and he's also sitting there thinking about how he's going to get laid at the end of the day. He's thinking that if he does all of these good deeds out here, it will eventually lead to this woman being so appreciative that he's going to go out here and be able to get laid. But at the end of the day, all he gets is smashed in the face with some kryptonite doo-doo, and he's left there with his ashy penis and his extra dry balls. And that's what happens to your Captain Save-Ems most of the time. And that's what happened to this black male simp who went out here and spent over 30 grand on the Becky. He thought, oh, this white girl really likes me and is paying attention to me. And he was so spellbound by those crystal blue eyes and that creamy white skin, that he was out here thinking, I'm going to get a chance to smash this white girl, and I'm going to be able to go out here and do this, and she'll be so appreciative of me that she will sit here and want to be with me for the rest of her life because she's in prison and I'm a come up for her. And that's the great irony of this whole situation. She's thinking, oh, she's going to be a come up for me. And when she's thinking about come up, she's like, oh, I'm going to be able to come up with his money. So this guy, it was really sad to see him get played like that. And he didn't even understand the big picture as related to things, because this same female was out here fleecing an older white male. At the same time, she was fleecing him, and he's sitting there thinking he's got a shot with this female, but he never had a shot at all. She saw him as a mark from minute one, and she saw how naive and how stupid this guy was, because she was reading him from minute one. Once he dropped that message into the online profile, she looked at this guy's picture and saw the beta in him, because when I was watching the video, I could see the beta in his body language. I could see the weakness in his body language. And the more he talked, I could hear the desperation in his voice. And he was only thinking about the social currency of having this Becky on his arm. And as he was thinking about having this Becky on his arm, he wasn't thinking about how much this was gonna cost him in the long run. Because in the long run, he was the one who was going to go out here and lose, because when you lead with your wallet, you're the one who winds up paying the price socially, because once you go out here and are spending so much money, what you're telling that woman is that you don't really value yourself, and you're telling that woman that you have a low self-worth. Because when you have a guy out here and he's spending a boatload of money on a woman, what that's doing is letting people know, hey, I'm really weak. I'm really don't have a lot of confidence. And because I don't have a lot of confidence, I'm just going to go out here, drop these dollars to try to impress, because I'm overcompensating with my wallet. And when you go out here and overcompensate with your wallet, again, you're coming from that position of weakness. And when you come from the position of weakness, people, they don't see you as a man. They see you as a tool. And this woman saw this guy as a tool, and she got herself money put on her books. She got money put on her books for commissary, and she was living good on Little Debbie snack cakes and ramen noodles on his dollar while she was in prison. And then as she was in prison, she was making a lot of requests for him to pick up things for her later on. So this woman wound up going out here, getting herself a new iPhone, getting herself new lingerie, getting herself these earbuds, these expensive earbuds. And the guy even laid out $3,000 in cash just for her to spend on her. And when I was sitting there thinking about it, I was shaking my head, because here's a guy who says, oh, I work for $25 an hour. And if I had that kind of money, I'm not thinking about spending it on no female. No, I'm thinking about building myself up and working towards something really constructive, because 30 grand is a down payment on a home. 30 grand is a couple of used cars, because I would never buy a new car, because I would go to the auto auction, get myself one of these, used cars, because a lot of times you go to the auction, you get a nice used car for $1,000, $2,000. They're a little higher now, about $2,000, $3,000. And that's a great daily driver. And the rest, I would be putting that money to work for me. I mean, when that type of money, you turn that into revenue streams. You just don't go out here and use it to go out here and try to get the attention of a female. Pedrado Funk makes a good point. Yeah, Toyotas, yeah, they are good for the win, especially if you can get a nice used one. I watch a lot of channels like Auto Auction Rebuilds and stuff like that, and they have those used cars, and Toyotas are really good if you get a nice used one. It'll last you a good long time. So the same thing with a Honda Accord. You really want to go out here, and you could save a bunch of money going out here buying a used car at an auction. But these guys, they don't really think about that. All they're thinking about is, I'm going to impress this female by showing her I'm going to be able to provide for her. And you really, that woman has not earned that status just yet. When you have a female who is out here, she has to earn certain things. And that is one of the things that the simp doesn't understand, because the simp, he grew up in a single mother household. He grew up watching soap operas. He grew up watching these Madison Avenue and Hollywood romantic comedies. He grew up watching a lot of these soap operas where these women are taken to these fine restaurants where they are shown this really high lifestyle. They're taken to get the fine restaurant. They're given things, but they don't understand that's a scripted story, and that is done for entertainment purposes. Like a lot of these guys, they'll sit there and watch Sex in the City with Carrie Bradshaw and Mr. Big going out here and buying her things. That's what simps do. Men don't go out here and do that. No, men who are a part of God's order, they are looking for a helpmeet, and they're looking to see if this woman is going to be compatible in helping them go out here and build something. And when you first date a woman or go out with a woman, you want to first see if you're compatible with that woman. And this guy, he didn't understand that. He was going to this inmate, and yeah, she was telling him what he wanted to hear. And because she was telling him what he wanted to hear, he got in his feelings, and as related to the attention he was receiving. And that's an adolescent response to girls. I mean, when you're 14, 15 years old and a girl is paying attention to you, a lot of these guys, they will get all in their feelings and get all feeling funny and stuff. And you're getting caught up in the attention, but they're not thinking critically about the relationship that they're having with this woman. They're not really feeling the energy to understand that there is no connection between you. There is no vibe between you. And he's just caught up in her just saying good things about him and how they make him feel, not really looking around and seeing, oh, there's no chemistry here. There's no connection here. She's not touching me, which is something women do when they really are into a guy. They can't stop touching a guy, and they can't stop looking at him. I mean, that's something women do all the time when they're really into a guy. But these simps, they're not really studying body language, facial expression. They're not really studying the things that really show that she's interested. I mean, sitting close and looking at you. These are things that the simp isn't looking at. And because he's not really thinking about those things, he's just happy that somebody's paying attention to him. But somebody just paying attention to you doesn't really mean that they're interested. There are verbal and nonverbal cues that show you if somebody is truly interested, but your simp really does not understand those cues. Thank you, George, for the Cash App. I really appreciate it. And if you guys want to donate to the Cash App, you can donate it as well, because 100% of the money goes to me. Now, you can donate to the Super Chat, but the Super Chat, Google takes 30%, but 100% goes to the Cash App. So thank you, George, for the Cash App. I really appreciate it. But you have to really understand that if there's a connection, it's a whole different thing. But the simp, he doesn't understand that there's a connection. He's caught so much in the attention he's receiving that he's just in an infatuated state. And that's the only way I can describe it, because when I was a teenager, that's what it is. That's what I experienced, is you're in an infatuated state. You're just caught up in the feelings of attention you're receiving. But because you're caught up in those feelings, you don't understand that this female is playing you. You're just sitting there thinking, oh, this is going to go somewhere, but this isn't going anywhere because this woman is not investing anything in you. And that's what happened in this case with this prison Becky. The prison Becky wasn't investing anything, and the guy was investing everything. So he was out here taking his money out of his bank account and investing it in her, hoping for a payoff of a covert contract that if he does all of these good deeds for this prison Becky, eventually she will drop her panties for him. And that's basically prostitution, and if you look at it. But when you're dealing with these kind of simps, that's the type of deal they're thinking that they're going to get. But usually all these guys wind up getting is an extremely raw deal. So a lot of these guys, they're sitting there thinking, oh, I got a real shot at this female, but you never had a shot from minute one because she was never invested in you emotionally. Because she wasn't invested in you emotionally, then she really didn't really see any interest in you at all. It doesn't matter how many things she writes about you or writes to you. If she's not expressing emotional interest, like all the touching, all the feeling, all the looks and stuff like that, the nonverbal cues, then clearly she isn't interested. But with this guy, he actually thought he had a girlfriend, and he didn't even understand how the whole relationship between a boyfriend and a girlfriend works. When you have a relationship between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, it's a two-way street. And on a two-way street, she's going to express more interest than you. Usually, the guy doesn't really have to do much as related to things. Usually, it's the female who will go out here and express heavy interest. But this guy, he was out here dropping all the text messages, continuing to try to send her emails, continuing to visit her. And a lot of these simps, they're thinking, oh, I'm leading in the relationship, but that's not how you lead in the relationship. If you're constantly in her DMs, or if you're constantly contacting her online, constantly visiting her, this is not a sign that she's interested. And he's thinking, oh, because she's locked up, she's going to be so desperate. But that a lot of those women who are in prison, they are not really desperate. And that's something the simp he thought, that's what he thought. But in reality, that is never the case. And when it comes down to females who are inmates, a lot of times they have husbands, a lot of times they have boyfriends, and a lot of times they have side dudes. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, she's in prison, she ain't got nobody. Because that's what the way your simps like this guy thought, oh, she's so desperate, she can't really find anybody. So she's got to deal with me. And I'm the prize because I've got the money and she has nothing. That's the way the simp thinks. But he doesn't understand what's going on here with a lot of these females, because in some cases, a lot of females who are out here and they got dope boyfriends, they are taking the fall for him, and they're still texting and calling this dude or sending him emails, or they're out here with another dude and he's got all this stuff and she's just doing things for him. Or in some cases, some of these women, they have other girlfriends, so they have people out here and they're just looking at you online and saying, hey, this is just a guy I'm talking to get some money. And then they go and take your money once they get out and spend it on the other dude. And that's what that's what happened to this guy. He was out here thinking, oh, I'll buy her all this stuff and she'll be so impressed. And what was really sad at the end of the video was what happened to him when he went out here to meet her. Now, when he went at the prison, she was all playing to his feelings. But once she got out, she was not really interested in him. And he thought, oh, I'll bring this girl over to my house. She'll spend the night with me. And that's when she curved dude. After he gave her all the gifts and the $3,000 cash, she wound up curving the dude by going out here and saying, I want to go spend the night at my mother's house. And when she went out here and spent the night at the mother's house, that was practically the biggest slap in his face because he had created the covert contract in his mind that if I go out here, I spend this money on this woman, I'm gonna get the draws, and the only thing he was left with was his ashy penis and a bad case of the extra, 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 extra dry balls. And that's what happened to this dude. And he's sitting there, and I don't think he really learned his lesson, but it's a painful lesson that I've seen happen many times. I mean, this dude spent 30 grand to try to get, again, a prison, Becky. And that really, it really shows not the problem with her, because we already know that she's from the bottom. The problem was he was at the bottom of the world looking to try to save this female. And when he looked to save this female, he wound up getting smashed in the face with kryptonite doo-doo. And I talked about that in Captain Save 'Em, The Misadventures of Captain Save 'Em, which you can get on Amazon.com on Kindle for $2.99. And once you get this book, again, this book could have saved this man $27,999, and he could have had that money in his pocket. All he needed to do was go out here and pick up this book, and he would have avoided that woman. And Mr. Urban World makes a good point. He could have, started a very successful eBay or Amazon business, picking up stuff like action figures or picking up old video game systems or picking up DVDs. And he could have started selling stuff like that, or he could have bought some imported clothes or stuff like that and started himself a nice business. I mean, if I had the 30 grand, I could think of 100 things to do with that kind of money. But these guys really don't think critically about the money that they spend. Many of these guys, they're thinking, I'm going to try to get these panties, and they're thinking about elevating their social status, and they're thinking about social currency, and they're willing to invest economic wealth in an effort to try to get social currency where he can say, oh, I got some Becky draws, but all he did was screw himself at the end of the day, figuratively and literally, because he screwed himself out of $30,000, and that 30 grand, that's a lot of money when out here. I mean, that's money that any other guy would be out here looking to build a business with, looking to put into savings, looking to go out here and invest in things like Supremo talked about, Bitcoin. He could have bought himself a lot of different things and got himself a return on his investment, because those panties, they're not really a return on investment. And a lot of guys who come from single mother households, they're sitting there thinking, I'm going to go out here and get that return on the investment as related to some draws. But when I look at it, in proportion to the cost that he spent, he got nothing at the end of the day but that ashy penis and those extra dry balls. And he's sitting there. He was really, again, a sad guy, because he's sitting there talking about how he saved himself for a year. Thank you for the Cash App, Natalie. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it, Natalie. And again, if you guys want to donate to the Cash App, you can donate to the Cash App as well. And again, all that money goes directly to me and my efforts to do projects. And like Stop Simping in Cyberspace, I'm getting ready to get the stock photo for that cover. That book has been laid out already. And the Stop Simping in Cyberspace book, I believe that would have also helped this guy, because he didn't understand the type of predator he was dealing with. And he was sitting there, he was, again, talking about saving himself for this woman because he had put her on a pedestal. And that's one of the things that simps do. I mean, this woman was a prison inmate, but he's acting like she's a virgin. But I guarantee you, this woman was no virgin. This woman was definitely had been messing with a whole lot of guys. because she is already stringing this other old white dude along. But she's going to go. Thank you, Joe, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. If you want to donate to the super chat or the Cash App, you can do so as well. But she was stringing along another old white dude. And I'm sitting there going, you're saving yourself for this female? I just shook my head at that, because even when I was 13 years old, I knew that most of these girls out here were not virgins. So I sat there and said to myself, why are you saving yourself for a female? I mean, what does that have? I mean, that just shows that you're sitting there talking about saving yourself. I mean, that's he sounded like a female. I mean, if that's not a virgin who is a wife, then you don't really need to really even think about doing anything like that. I mean, that's again, a lot of these guys, they come from a really distorted view of womanhood and manhood. They come from a distorted view of relationships. Oh, I'm going to be the good man who saves himself for this female inmate, not understanding this female inmate has been with multiple guys by the time she was like 20 something years old. So I'd say she's been with about 30, 35 guys at that point. And you're sitting there talking about saving yourself and being pure for her. And I looked at that, and it showed me he was just caught up in a female mindset. He didn't really understand. It's like Dylan Hill said, these women have been run hard and put away wet. And again, these women have been around the block since they've been about, I say, 12, 13 years old. And they've been around the block with older guys. And he's sitting up there because he's so spellbound and mesmerized by those crystal blue eyes and that creamy white skin and that blonde hair. He's thinking, oh, I got a prize. No, dude, you don't have a prize. You have a bust down Becky who has been driven hard, put away wet by multiple Pookies, multiple Ray Rays, multiple white dudes. And a lot of these guys have had lots and lots of fun with this female who you think is a prize. And the problem, again, is not the woman. The problem is the dude who goes to these places looking for women. Because the reason why he's in these places looking for women is because he doesn't have the self-esteem or the self-confidence to go out here and look for quality women, because he's afraid to go out here and take all of the rejections and take all of the women saying no to him in order to get to the one who says yes. So, 1 second. But they don't really want to go out here and take those rejections. They don't want to take those L's, but they don't understand that a man has to take L's in order to get to the W. It's like in the game, like when you're going out here playing video games, you have to take the L to get to the W, and you have to go out here and lose lots of games in order to win. So thank you, Darius, for the Cash App. I really appreciate it. And again, if you guys want to donate to the Cash App, you can donate to the Cash App by clicking the link in the chat. So you have to take a lot of L's, and that's just part of life. But these guys, they don't want to go through that process. They don't want to go through that learning curve. They want to go out here and start winning from the beginning. But nobody goes out here and wins from the beginning. No, you go out here hearing women saying that they're not interested. Sometimes you'll get cursed out. Sometimes you'll get yelled at. And that's all part of the business when you're in adolescence. I mean, I've had women sitting there talking about how I was not what they wanted. Some women saying that I was retarded. Some women saying that I was ugly. And I just let it bounce off me back when I was at places like Park West High School. I just let it bounce off me because I said, you know, that's her in her feelings. And what she says about me is not true at all. That's her coming out of her feelings because she's insecure. And you can't sit here and let her try to go out here and hurt you with her words. You have to sit here and not be fazed about it, because when you aren't fazed about it, that has more impact on her than it does on you, because it not only shows that she can't go out here and hurt you with her words, but it also shows other women that you have strong character and that you're not going to sit here and let her just go and just hurt you like that. Because what she wants to do is, in some ways, crap test you to see if you're going to react to her. And a lot of these simps, they will react to her by either engaging in a back and forth. But the smart man is going to sit there. He's just going to not even respond to her. He's like, I'm not even going to respond to you. You want to say what you want? Go ahead and say what you want. I'm just going to leave you right here because you're the one who looks like a fool. And he's going to go on about his business. And that's going to, again, hit her harder than anything out here. But the simps, they don't want to go through any of those type of scenarios where you're dealing with rejection, where you're dealing with women who are critical, when you're dealing with women who are nasty. But they are all part of the business in the world of going out here and trying to have contact with women. They're all part of it. And you have to learn how to build up a thick skin in order to just be able to deal with these kind of women. And when you're dealing with these kind of chicks who act like this, you wind up just letting it go in one ear and out the other. Because if you internalize it, it's going to lead to you being completely messed up. And you have to really, again, go out here and just let it go in one ear and out the other. And say to yourself that it's their loss, because if you are the man that God created, you are the head, you have value to God, and you have to go out here and present yourself in a way that says, look, if I'm the head and I am the leader, then as a leader, I have to go out here and not internalize what she's saying, because if she's saying these kind of things, this woman is not worthy of being my helpmate. This woman is not worthy of being on my team. And this woman is not qualified to be my partner. If she cannot show me basic respect, then we can't have a relationship. And this is what happens to a lot of simps. They will go out here and they'll think that, oh, I need this woman to like me. But the whole core foundation of a relationship is respect. And if a woman does not respect you, you don't have anything. And this guy thought he could buy feelings like, but the whole thing is, like is a feeling that is temporary. Respect is something that a woman gives you from minute one, because she sees you as a leader and an authority figure. And when women see you as a leader and an authority figure, she's going to come at you in a completely different fashion than when she comes at you with this whole, oh, I need stuff. No, when a woman has respect for you, there is no I need stuff. There is I need you, and I'm looking to you to be the head and the leader. But this simp, he thought, oh, she's paying attention to me. She likes me. She's saying that I'm going to be her girlfriend, my girlfriend. And he was just so caught up in the attention he was receiving, he didn't understand that this woman was playing him for his money, and she got money for her commissary. She's sitting up there probably eating a whole bunch of Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, and your other prison things like coffee, probably buying the entire cell block stuff with the money he put on her books, and probably having a good laugh at his expense. And he's sitting there thinking, oh, I'm making inroads towards getting those prison draws. But again, he was leaving out, when she came out, she left him with the ashy dick and the extra dry balls. And he's sitting there, again, thinking that this was going to go somewhere, but it was never going to go anywhere from minute one. And as I was watching the video, he was, again, really sad even before he met this woman, because he's sitting there with a sex toy talking about this is how he was relieving himself. And again, you don't sit there and volunteer information like that on a program. I mean, if you're a man of character, you don't talk about stuff like that. And he goes out here and talks about stuff like that, thinking it's a positive, but at the end of the day, it was making him look pathetic. I mean, when you got a guy talking about he's got a sex toy and he's sitting up here and he's out here and saying, "Oh, this is how I get my needs met." That just it just shows weakness. It shows weakness of character, and it shows that this guy he really does not know how he's embarrassing himself. Because when you go out here and make statements like that, every other woman out here is looking at dude and saying, "Look at how weak this dude is. Look at how soft this dude is. Look at how sad this dude is. He's sitting here. He's got a good job. He's making good money. And he's sitting up here talking about, I got a sex toy because I can't." It's like, man, where is your confidence? I mean, you don't put nothing out there like that. I mean, you don't talk about stuff like that. I mean, that's private. And even then, it's just really disturbing what he did with that same toy. I mean, dude put the toy in the dishwasher right on camera. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? I mean, that's where you eat. I mean, you got your food in, you put your food in there, you put your plates in there, and he's got it in there with his food, which really is, it's absolutely disturbing watching that sequence because, again, the guy thought, oh, I'm just showing how I'm struggling as a single black man, but he was looking on camera like a straight up sucker. I mean, when everybody watches this, they're not going to see any sort of internal character. They're just going to see a soft, weak, emasculated man, and they're seeing somebody who, like Supremo was saying, so not socially awkward, but I would have to dare to go to say socially inept. I mean, this when you look at this dude, I mean, he's got a sex toy that he relieves himself with. He puts it in the dishwasher with his food, where his where that really disturbed me, and it just really, I mean, this is just disturbing. I have a link to the video, Mr. Urban World, on one of my videos, so I'm gonna go and bring that up, and so you can take a look at it for yourself. I have a link to both of the videos, but this dude, I mean, this was really sad. And when I watched it on World Star, I just shook my head looking at that video because I couldn't post it on my channel because I didn't want to get a copyright strike or have to wind up losing, revenue dealing with it. So I will post a link to. I posted a link to the first one, and I posted a link to the second one, where the guy wound up getting curved by the female. So this guy was disturbing, to say the least. And I put the link to both of the videos. And this dude, it was embarrassing to watch him because I mean, I know that a lot of guys are there in their adolescence, 14, 15, 16. And they're feeling that kind of desperate. But when you're 33 years old, I mean, that really says that this man was stuck in a state of arrested development. Now, thank you, I Drive Trank, for the card. Thank you for the super chat. He says, simps focus more on female attention than themselves. Real men are about their focus and bettering themselves. Sometimes I wonder if that show is fake. Yeah, it could be fake, but when I look at that whole situation, this was something that I have seen simps do. I mean, was it Pedrado talked about it a minute ago? He said, I think, let me go back to it. Yeah, he said some of these guys spend up to $10K to hug a woman. And I remember reading that story about that guy who spent $10,000 to go meet that woman on OnlyFans. And that really made me shake my head. Again, another guy, 10 grand. I mean, if I had 10 grand, I could go out here and practically put together the entire John Haynes at Death's Door comic and be able to have it distributed through Diamond. I mean, that's what I could do with $10,000. I mean, right there, and be able to have copies printed and have the whole thing ready to go on Diamond. I mean, this guy spent $10,000 to fly cross country to go hug a woman on OnlyFans. And that's the type of behavior we're seeing with a lot of these cyber simps out here. And yeah, Mr. Urban World talks about, yeah, how these guys spend thousands to fly out these delusional Instagram models. I mean, I look at that, it's like, yeah, they be flying these women out, and some of them, the Arab guys, they just fly them out and have sex with them and defecate on them and pee on them. And this is, again, it shows that these guys, they really, again, don't have good male life skills. They don't have good understanding of how to navigate the world as a man, because you're spending 10 grand to fly to meet a woman. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I like a lot of women online. I like looking at some pictures now and again, but I ain't spending no money on that female, because I know that many of those females already have a boyfriend, already have a husband, and some of these women have kids. So you sitting up there thinking, oh, I'm going to spend 10 grand on this woman, or in the case of this other simp, 30 grand. You're not impressing her. All you're doing is giving her money to go spend on another dude. I mean, I knew about this, again, way back in the late 80s in high school, how these chicks would play these drug dealers and stuff. Those guys sat there and thought, oh, I'm buying this girl Shearling coats. I'm buying this girl gold chains. I'm buying this girl Jordans and Guess jeans. And they didn't understand that the same female they were buying all the stuff for, they were out there with them, but they were also out here with other dudes. So you're sitting there thinking, you are the only one. No, you're not the only one in a lot of cases. And a lot of these guys, they really are behind the curve as related to women. And they're sitting there online thinking that they got a shot with this female, but they don't have a shot with this female. They never had a shot with this female, because they never asked the critical question that I presented in my new upcoming book, Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Why is this woman online? That's a critical question I asked when I look at a lot of these women who are on different social media platforms. And the thing that I look at, I go, why is she here? I mean, if this woman, thank you, Mobar7170, glad to see you here. Greetings to you. Why is she here? I mean, if this woman was a quality woman, she would not be on these platforms. If this woman was a quality woman, she would be with her boyfriend or her husband, and she would only be wanting to show him herself in lingerie. She would only be wanting to show him herself nude, and she would only be wanting to show him attention. She would not be out here looking for attention from other guys. No, she would be out here looking for attention from her husband. That is the way a quality woman behaves. She's out here looking for the attention of the man that she's with, and she's only going to want to share herself with that man. But these, again, female predators, they will put themselves out there because they know that these guys, they are naive. They know that they are gullible. They know that they're not very smart. And a lot of guys out here, I see them participating in this simp behavior. And this simp behavior, it really winds up jamming these guys up, like this guy who probably worked hard for years building up to get that 30 grand. And now he's out that money all because he had to have himself a Becky, and he was looking to get an easy Becky instead of putting in that hard work. Thank you, Joe Dexter, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Again, if you guys want to donate to the Cash App, you can donate to the Cash App by clicking the link in the chat. And you can also, again, pick up Misadventures of Captain Save-'em, a book that will keep you from being like these guys, putting on capes for putting on capes and Mickey Mouse galoshes and flying in the air to save, women who aren't really, don't want to be saved and just want to use you as a tool and then smash kryptonite doo-doo in your face. I mean, I hate to see things like that happen to guys. And sadly, it's happening to a lot of guys. And that's because they were not really prepared as related to women, as related to becoming a man. Well, Dylan was saying a co-worker's wife is on OnlyFans. Well, dude needs to really go check his woman, or he needs to divorce that woman, because if she's on OnlyFans and these simps are checking for her, then eventually she is going to check out of the relationship. Because if your woman is on OnlyFans posing in lingerie and posing nude, then she's out here looking for your replacement. And a lot of simps, they don't really understand that as related to marriage and relationships. If she's on these type of sites, she's only on there because she's looking to get a payday, and she's looking to, again, go out here and audition your replacement. Because the only reason why a woman goes on there is because she's looking to, one, get attention, and two, she's looking to get paid. And that really basically says a lot about her character, because again, a quality woman, she is only showing herself to her own husband, and she only wants to show herself to her husband because that's the man she wants to share herself with. Thank you, C Truth the Revelator. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. I really wanted to go again in depth on this black male who spent this 30 grand on this female, because this was sad to see this man go out here and spend $30,000. I mean, I think about $30,000, and that's money that can be spent a dozen different ways. I mean, a dozen different ways you could spend that money. Again, I could have done 3 comics with that money. I mean, even maybe 5 comics with that money, depending on the budget. And I could have gone out here and, again, done this with Indiegogos and Kickstarters, or I could have started to really invest in an eBay business. I could have gone out here and even gone out here and done some cons and shows. I mean, I think about the dozen different ways you could do 30 grand. And this guy, he's sitting up here thinking, oh, I want to go out here and get this girlfriend. And that's not how you get a girlfriend. I mean, that's one of the things that I learned back in high school. The Revelator, thank you for the Cash App. I really appreciate it. That's one of the things I learned back. Thank you, Revelator, for that $10 Cash App. Really appreciate it. But that's one of the things I learned back in high school is the whole thing of you needing money to get a girlfriend and try to impress her. That doesn't work, because all that does is it attracts predators to you. And when you get these predators, all they're looking to do is get themselves stuff out of your pocket. And yeah, some of them might even sleep with you once, but then after that, they're looking to set you up for a bigger payday, because then they're going to take you to family court and they're going to clean you out. So this is one of the things that happens to many of these simps. And a lot of these simps, they don't really understand how things go on as related to going out here to court women. They go out here, again, buying into ideas from soap operas, going out here buying into ideas that they saw in their mama's romance novels, going out here watching movies like Pretty Woman and other movies out here and shows like Sex and the City. And they're sitting thinking, oh, if I'm this good man, she will see my value. But if you don't value yourself, then she's not going to respect anything that you do, because the women who see you respecting yourself, they're going to see your value as a man. But if you don't value yourself, then what happens is all she's going to see you is as a tool. Because if you go out here leading with your wallet, all she sees is the money that you're presenting, but she's not seeing you as a person, and she's not seeing your character as a man. So this guy, he sat there thinking, oh, I'm going to go out here, I'm going to go get me a Becky, and I'm going to go and try to go out here and be the Captain Save-'em, the Prince Charming, and I'm going to sweep her off her feet and take her to happily ever after. But he didn't get anything but one big disaster. And he got a big disaster because he went out here simping. He went out here thinking, oh, I'm going to go out here and get this dream girl, this Becky, and she's going to be so appreciative of everything that I'm going to do for her. And at the end of the day, I'm going to get these prison draws. And again, all he got was some dusty, extra dry balls. And he got laughed at. He was a laughing stock because that's what happens to a lot of these simps out here as related to being going out here and approaching women. And again, like Aaron was saying, this is a cautionary tale was regarded to this busted down, broken down Becky. And again, he wound up looking for a busted down, broken down Becky with pussy walls that looked like the ruins of Pompeii and more miles than a 1974 Chevrolet Chevette that where the odometer says to be continued. And this is what happens again to your simps out here because they don't have any sort of male guidance and they don't have any sort of men out here who have the character to sit down and talk to these young brothers the way I'm trying to talk to y'all right now. Because I'm trying to talk to all the people out here, all 55 of you who are in the chat, because I see so many guys out here who don't really know what's going on, don't really think about what things from a critical perspective, and they really, again, are stuck in that state of arrested development where they are in a mental state where they're at the age of 14. And if you're in a mental state where you're at the mental age of 14, you are just still getting caught up in your emotions about females. You are getting caught up in your emotions because she's paying attention to you. You're acting real goofy. We got 29 likes. Let's get the likes up. I mean, if we got 55 in the room, let's get this up to 50 because that helps with the algorithm. And you got these guys out here, again, acting like they're 14, 15 years old, getting giddy, getting goofy, and acting silly because, oh, a woman online paid attention to me. Well, women online pay attention to me all the time, but it doesn't faze me because that's not a real relationship. That's not anything real. And that person doesn't know me from Adam Housecat. They don't know anything about me. They're not a part of my personal life. I mean, a virtual connection is not the same thing as a personal connection, and a virtual connection is just something that's done online. I mean, a personal connection, that's something that's done when you go face to face, when you meet each other through eye contact, when she touches you and she feels that spark. And that's one of the things Ringo really made me really think about when he did a couple of videos about a couple of years ago. He was talking about touching the woman, because that touch lets her know that she can connect with you, and if she's touching you, then she's connecting with you. And again, that's show because women are emotional and they want to make that touch with you. What's going on, G-Boot 2786? I appear on G-Boot's show on Thursdays at 9. So if you want to catch me over there on G-Boot's channel, you can check me out over there. And I'm talking about the simp, and I'm deconstructing the black male simp who was spent 30 grand on a prison Becky. And I wanted to go further in depth on the subject because this guy, it was really sad to watch this guy and watch him get taken advantage of. So it was really, really sad to watch this guy. People posted it on World Star Hip Hop, and one of my viewers, he sent me the link to the video. So I'm going to send you a link to the video as well, and you can check it out, G-Boo. But this guy, he did not have those life skills, and that's really going to hamper him. I mean, this will be a hard lesson learned as related to this guy. What's going on, Yukasama 2001? He's one of my regular viewers. Really glad to see you here at the live stream. where I'm talking about this simp. But this is going to be a hard lesson for him. And what will probably happen is that he's going to really wind up bitter as a result, because a lot of these beta males, what happens is that they go from one extreme to the other, and they'll be like, oh, this woman burnt me so bad. And he's going to be like, women are B's, women are H's. No, not all women are B's and H's. But if you go to a place where there are bottom feeders, you are going to run into lots of these female predators, and these female predators are going to sit here and take advantage of you, because once you walked into the room, they already, again, read your body language, they sized you up, and they saw the big, fat, juicy simp, and they were ready to come in and devour you. And that's what happened in the case of this guy. I mean, he didn't really understand. Once he stepped into that online arena and that woman saw his picture, she could probably read the weakness in him, and she could see, looking at this dude, look at how weak this guy is, look at how weak his body language is. And I could read it just by watching the video that I was sent. I looked at the video, I was like, this guy, look at this guy's body language. Look at how weak his body language is. Look at how his facial expressions are. I mean, he was looking really, really soft and weak. And those females looked at this guy, and he might have had a good job and doing well. But the whole thing is, he didn't have those male life skills to let people to understand how the world works. And he didn't really understand that, you don't go certain places. I mean, as a man, I understand I don't go to an online dating site, because what's on an online dating site is garbage and leftovers. I mean, there's nothing on an online dating site. There's no quality women going on an online dating site. No quality women. They can go out here and attract a partner because they have that confidence, and because they're quality, they know what to look for in a man. So when you have a woman who is of quality, she knows her value, and she's not dealing with some guy online thousands of miles away. She can deal with the quality men inside of her community, and usually she gets snapped up very quickly, or because she's looking for a quality man, she will go out here and identify those quality men and snap him up real quick. It's like I wrote in my novel, Spinsterella, the Matilda character saw the quiet man, and she was like, she went in there and got him real quick. I mean, women will be sitting there, quality women, they will scope out a situation at work. They will scope out a guy on the street. They will study that guy's patterns and routines. And if they see that guy going to work every day, coming out there clean and looking nice, they're going to find a moment to swoop in, grab that guy, and take him right off the market before any of the other women even notice him. They will sit there and be like, I see this guy. He's coming. He's got out here. He's got on nice clothes. He's going to work every day. He gets on the bus at 8:45 every day. He's coming home at 5:47. I see him come into the building. I see him. He's by himself. They're scoping that guy out, and they come in, swoop right in, and grab that guy right off the market, because quality women, they will go out here and just take that guy right out. And that's what the simps don't understand. They don't understand this. I've seen it. I mean, when I was in AmeriCorps and Strive, I mean, there were women checking for me. And even when I was at City College, there were women checking for me. So I know that they're out there, and I can see those type of women. Again, quality women, they're waiting in the wings. But the simp, because he's so caught up in social currency and trying to impress females, he winds up missing out on the quality women, because he's not looking, because he's looking to try to be the cool guy. He's looking to be the fly guy. He wants to have the arm candy, because this guy, he wanted to have the Becky on his arm to say, look, I got me a white girl. And what happens to those kind of guys is, because he's looking for an attachment to go on his arm, she winds up attaching to him like a leech and sucking the life out of him, sucking away all of his money, and then winding up taking him and cleaning him out and making his wallet 10 pounds lighter. Joe Dexter said something that was funny. 30K for a backyard Becky. He needs his behind whip. Well, maybe his single mother will go out here and get the belt to him, but I believe, well, sadly, what's going to happen to dude is he's going to wind up becoming a misogynist, sitting here talking about hating women, calling all women B's and H's. But the problem was he went to a place where there were B's and H's and expected to find a quality woman. But there are no quality women in a place like online dating, and there's no quality women in a place like an online prison dating site. Because what's in an online prison dating site are mostly, again, low-seated women who aren't really about anything. And any guy who knows about how the inmate prison system works, and I worked at Strive and listened to a lot of women, a lot of these women, they already got a dude who is waiting for them on the outside. A lot of them have more than one dude waiting for them on the outside. Some of them have other females that they're in relationships with, because when I was working at Strive, there were a lot of lesbian women who were ex-offenders. So a lot of these women, they already got people, but you're sitting there thinking, you got a shot, but you ain't got no shot at all. And the only thing you're doing is throwing good money after bad. And that's what this guy, he needs his behind whip for spending that kind of money, but he also is going through a lot of emotional pain because, again, spending 30 grand on a busted, broken down Becky, I mean, you don't need to do this type of stuff, especially in a world where there are 4 women for every 1 man. And if a guy gets his mind right, he can go out here and get with any woman that's out here, because they will just go out here and they will want to be with you. You don't really have to do much if women are really with women, but a lot of these guys, they don't have those life skills or those survival skills, and they don't really know how to read people or identify females who are out here, because they get caught up in their looks and they're not really looking past their looks and looking at their character. Now, a guy who knows how to read women, read body language, read facial expressions, read energy, and really instinctively catch different things, because there are things that you can catch, things as related to how a woman feels about you and how she really thinks of you. I mean, she will express those things very subtly, but if you have your eyes open, you can see them. You can see if this woman has no respect for you. You can see if this woman has nothing but contempt for you. You can read those things, but a lot of the simps, again, they are stuck at 14 years old, and all they're thinking about is getting some draws. And again, I'm going to keep repeating it. All they wind up with is the ashy dick and the extra dry balls. And that's what happens to your simps out here. They're sitting here thinking, I've got, again, that this is going to be a winning strategy, but there's not a winning strategy. It's a losing one, and you're not going to win trying to elevate a woman from the bottom of the world who doesn't really appreciate life at the top. Mobar7170 says, do I think this may go deeper, like a mental health issue with these simps? They seems to be more seriously than foolishly thirst. There might be a mental health issue with some of these guys. I'd have to say some of them have Asperger's. Some of them have autistic issues, like Elliot Rodger is alleged to have had. Some of them might have that issue with themselves. But a lot of cases, it's that these boys never had that man in their life to teach them basic male life skills. And he never had a man, like Dylan said, to really give him that mentoring and that guidance. Because a lot of mothers, they sit there and say men are bad because they had a bad experience with one man. But the irony is they don't understand, if it's not quality men out here talking to your boy, then you're going to create a simp. And when you create a simp, you're going to create the same kind of guy who is just like the baby daddies out here. because a lot of these baby daddy types, a lot of these guys didn't have any sort of male life skills, male survival skills, and they didn't know how to have a relationship with a woman. And because what happens to a lot of these guys is they wind up perpetuating the cycle because because the mothers don't understand that not every man is a bad guy. And there's some decent brothers out here who will sit there and try to give you the real, like I am during this stream. I'm going to sit there and try to explain to you how things really work, because you don't need any sort of wallet out here to get with a woman, and you don't need to be in places like this, because that's really, again, sad that he went to that kind of place. Like Aaron asked the question, why did he choose prison to find a woman? That's the only place he could think of. No, he chose prison because what happened was he was looking for a woman who would say yes to him. He was afraid of getting rejected. So he was looking for the easiest yes he could find. And that's why he went to prison. He didn't want to hear any sort of no from women. He didn't want to deal with rejection. He didn't want to deal with women saying no to him and having to deal with women saying that they weren't interested. And he went on to this prison site because he wanted the easiest yes. And that again shows how little confidence he had as a man, because a man who has confidence, he's going to go out here, he'll shoot his shot. If she says no, he's going to be cool about it and be on his way. He's like, look, okay, she's not interested. There are other women out here. And if she's not interested, then you're not even going to get phased. And once you've been rejected enough times, it's going to roll off you and you're going to just go on your way. But when you're stuck in a state of arrested development, when you're still at 14 years old, you're still crushing over girls. You're still talking about, this is the one that I really want to be with, and this is the one I want to spend my life with. It's like, if she doesn't want to be part of your program, then you need to just let her go on her way, because you want to be with the woman who wants to help you. You want to be with the woman who wants to go out here and cheerlead you. And you want to be with the woman who wants to share with you. I mean, that's something the guy could go out here, and if he's patient, he can go out here and find, again, 4 women for 1 man out here. And if you are straight and together, you're not going to have any problems attracting women. And that's what happens to these kind of guys out here. They don't understand their own value as men, and that's why they go to these bottom places instead of going out here and going to places like the Barnes and Noble, where you can find lots of women at the Barnes and Noble, or going to the high-end supermarkets like Whole Foods here across the country, or Fairway here in New York. I mean, there are quality women everywhere, but these guys, they go into these bottom places because they have their mind is at the bottom. They think less of themselves. And when you think less of yourself, you think about going to places at the bottom instead of seeing yourself where you really should be. So that's usually how these guys roll, is that they have extremely low self-esteem. And when you have low self-esteem, you're going to be sitting there talking about, I'm going to try to get this woman in prison. I'm going to try to go get this woman at the strip bar. I'm going to go and try to get this woman at the bus station, because a lot of simps will go to the bus station looking for the teenage girls or the young women who come off the bus talking about dreams of Hollywood or dreams of being a stripper. And they're going to save those women, but all they do is go out here and get a lot of grief for themselves, because these same type of females practically wind up playing them like a sucker and then glazing them like a donut. So Supremo makes a good point. He wanted an archetype, not a person, because he wanted to go out here and get that fantasy that he was looking for. He was looking for this ideal type of woman, and that happens to a lot of cyber simps, like I talk about in Stop Simping in Cyberspace. A lot of these guys start looking for some woman who fits some sort of archetype that they have, like a nerd or a goth, or they're looking for a certain type of woman. They're looking for that idea that they're having, but they're not looking for a person, and they're not looking to have a relationship with a person. They're wanting to have a relationship with that archetype. Oh, she's a nerd, she's a cosplayer, she's a goth girl, she's this type of woman. But that's not all she is. And you have to look at the content of their character and not just the whole ideas that they're having. And I go in depth in this in my new upcoming ebook and paperback, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, and I'm hoping to have that book out this fall. Thank you, Kevin, for the super chat. He says even young athletes are messed up by these gold diggers from the streets. And yeah, a lot of these guys who are athletes, especially NBA players, NFL players, a lot of these guys, they come from single mother households. And because they come from single mother households, they have no man to teach them how to navigate the world. So these guys go out here and they get played by these females who are hanging out outside the stadium where the games are played, the hotel, and that was a lot of videos talking about how they go out here in All-Star Weekend. You have women who have boyfriends headed down to All-Star Weekend looking to get with one of these ball players because they know that a lot of these guys, they came from single mother households. They are out here. They don't really have a good understanding about how to navigate court situations with women, and they wind up getting taken advantage of by these females. So they will sit there and think that they got some sort of, oh, this chick is paying attention to me. But this chick is paying attention to you because she wants to get a payday and she wants to get $10,000 a month in child support. And that's what happens to a lot of these NBA players and NFL players. They're thinking again, like the guy who spent the 30 grand, I'm going to get some easy draws. And then they wind up stuck with a girl on child support for the next 18 to 20 years. And she's living the high life on it. And Supremo makes a good point that, yeah, a lot of these nerdy chicks and cosplayers, they got a lot of layers to them. And you're thinking, oh, she's got something in common with me because she likes these games. But she will play some games on you if you don't know what's going on. You'll wind up getting played by these type of females because a lot of them, they will go out here and you'll be thinking, oh, she's so sweet and innocent because she's in the games and cosplayers, these nerdy chicks. But a lot of these women are undercover freaks, and they will go out here and do some stuff with some guys behind the scenes. Because a lot of them, they are the cam girls, and they are the ones on these cam streaming sites, and they're also on these places like OnlyFans. And you're thinking, oh, she's different from the other girls, but she's got a secret life. And it's like the beta male. They have the secret world, and they go to the secret world, and they are participating in some ratchet stuff online. And I talk about that on Stop Simping in Cyberspace, about how some of these cosplayers be rolling and how some of these nerdy chicks and stuff, they've got OnlyFans pages, and some of them, they are pretty foul. And if you don't really know what you're doing, you can wind up getting played because she'll look like she's sweet and innocent on the outside, but she will just go out here and look for simps to take advantage of. And I've heard the horror stories from guys telling me that a lot of guys in the goth scene get played, a lot of guys in the comic book world get played by these kind of chicks. They put on a face to make it appear like they have something in common with you, but they really want to go out here and take advantage of a lot of guys out here. And that was one of the reasons why I went out here and wrote Stop Simping in Cyberspace, because I saw so many guys in the goth scene getting played the exact same way, so many guys in the comic book world getting played. And just like this black guy who spent this $30,000, these guys go out here, they get caught up in the visual. They're thinking that this woman will be easier, but then they wind up getting into a situation where they have a harder time because these guys, they're not up on game, and then they wind up getting jacked up by, like Dylan was saying, these black widows who will weave a very dangerous web, and then they'll wind up eating you alive. Now, I'm going to get ready to wrap up tonight's stream. I want to thank everybody for coming out to tonight's stream. We have 59 in the room. Let's get the likes up to 59. We got 41 right now. Let's see if we can get those likes up. Let's get those likes up because that helps with the algorithm. And I really, again, want to thank everybody for coming out to tonight's stream. And got 61. So let's really get those likes up because that really helps with things. I'm going to try to stay here to get 50 likes at least. I mean, let's get those likes up. But I really wanted to do this live stream because I wanted to get really in depth on this subject because there's a lot that guys could learn about these type of female predators. And I may have to do a show about these nerd girls, these cosplayers, and I may do that sooner because I want to do some promotion for Stop Simping in Cyberspace. And I really want to get the word out as related to that book because that book, I wrote that for all of my comic collecting fans out there. I wrote that for all of the goths out there. And I wrote it for all of the darkly inclined brothers and sisters out there. I mean, there's a lot of female predators who go out here on the internet and travel in internet social circles. So I really wanted to get this book together, and I really want this one I did this one for all of those viewers out there because I don't want to see people in the comic world, the goth world, the anime and manga world. I don't want to see them taken advantage of, and I really want to help those guys get up on game like the brothers out there on the street because the brothers out there on the street, they're up on game, and I want the comic fans to get up on game too. So if you guys want to start getting up on game, you can pick up Misadventures of Captain Saban, which is on Amazon.com right now. Which is only $2.99. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. So this book will, if it's $2.99, it will save you thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars over your lifetime. And you can also get Stop Simping, the book that started everything, on Amazon as well. And this book, again, if you spend $2.99 or $14.99 on this book, depending on the format, because Kindle is $2.99, paperback is $14.99. This book will save you thousands of dollars over the course of a lifetime. I've had mothers buy this book for their sons. I've had daughters share this book with their brothers, and I've had lots. The date I'm going to release Stop Simping is I'm going to announce it soon, but because I have to get the cover for it and I have to do the page layouts. But it will be sometime, I believe, in October. I'm going to release it. But that's when Stop Simping in Cyberspace is going to drop sometime in October because that's the big time for the holiday season. I'm still trying to edit it right now, Killer SI. So it's going to come out sometime in October. So I've got the book laid out. I'm doing the edits, and I'm going to start to get the cover ready. So it's on its way, and I definitely want to get that book out sooner rather than later because I don't want to see people who are out here get who are the least or the most vulnerable, the comic fans I know, the sci-fi and fantasy fans, the goths and the anime and manga fans. I don't want to see them taken advantage of. And I know a lot of those people spend time online. So I really want them to have some understanding of what they're dealing with at these Comic-Cons with these cosplayers and these other types. So Stop Simping in Cyberspace is going to be out late October, and I'm trying to get it ready right now, along with my other book, The Woman Crisis, which I hope to have out by 2022. So I have a lot of projects that I'm working on, and I really want these two to come out and be top quality. And that's one of the reasons why I'm out here again doing streams like this, because I want guys to be up on game so they won't get taken advantage of by these female predators. And I want them to be able to identify these type of female predators so they can avoid them. So I'm going to get ready to wrap up tonight's stream so I can get back to editing Stop Simping in Cyberspace, designing the cover and all that fun stuff, and get that book ready for pre-order on Amazon. So I want to thank everybody for coming out to tonight's stream, and I hope you'll be there for next week's stream.